before you ever think about what story am I going to tell? What content do I want to put out? How do I want my brand to look? Is your energy source clean? Start there, because you cannot empower other people or make other people excited about what you're doing or want them to change is if it's not coming from a genuine place, right? And people are going to see through it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the World Class Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Pierre Monice. And today, man, oh man, today I'm excited. I'm excited not just because another day of life, health, and strength, but I have a very good friend of mine. We're going to sit down and talk about life and leadership, because here on the World Class Leadership Podcast, we talk about everything life and leadership. And I have a good friend, my boy, Trey. Trey, how you doing? Thanks for joining us.
What's up, man? How are you doing? I'm doing well. Just happy to be here, man. Happy to finally be on the show, and excited for tonight.
Excellent, excellent. No, I'm excited as well. But just to break the ice, in true world-class leadership podcast fashion, just to get to know a little bit about you. First question. You ready for it?
Yes, sir. Let's go.
All right. You're kind of younger, so you may be already ready to go with all this, right? So if you could vacation to one place, anywhere in the world, for all of your vacation days, one location, where would that be, Trey?
Yeah, man, I've put a lot of thought into this. It's on my vision board. It's Amalfi Coast in Italy. Beautiful location. Absolutely in love with the Italian culture, food. Obviously, wine is a huge thing for me. I'm a huge wine drinker. Yeah, Amalfi Coast, just a beautiful place, man. Has definitely been on the top number one for me.
Very nice, man. Man with style. I like it.
Are you familiar?
I'm not familiar at all. You see, I keep learning so much about life from you, you see, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. Yeah. Trey, tell everybody what you do so they can know a little bit more about you.
Yeah, man, I guess from, a zoomed out perspective, I'm a content creator. I like to tell stories, and if you had to put a title on it, it would just be a brand storyteller. I really enjoy evoking emotion and using my lens to tell a story that evokes the emotion out of other people. So whether it's photography, videography, creating content for someone else's brand, I love that reaction. That's kind of what I've become obsessed with, right? And I think it's so powerful to be able for me to take a photo or record a video and evoke such great emotion from someone that it could either bring them to tears or bring them to joy, right? To see that from other human beings because of something that you created, amazing feeling. So I freelance right now, work for myself. I'm in a number of things, but really when it comes down to it, I tell stories for a living, doesn't matter the channel. That's what I do.
Yeah. First of all, just the way you describe it sounds just so cool and so exciting. But I need to pause, and I got to give you your flowers. Trey, we met, little under a year ago. Just from the beginning, super impressed just with your energy, your knowledge. You literally changed my life. Like, I thought I knew things, we had a few years apart, you're younger than I am, I'm still learning, but just the art of branding and storytelling. I mean, I've learned so much. It's really helped me find out about purpose for myself. So, I'm looking forward to digging in, because I do believe our viewers and our listeners will really be impacted, because we all have a story to tell, right?
Absolutely.
And instead of compartmentalizing it in different parts of our life, it should be ongoing, right? It's a story that never stops getting told. So tell us, how'd you get into it? Why brand and content creation? And, how'd you get to this point now?
Yeah, man. So, wow, where do I start? Well, listen, I went to college, and truthfully, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I really just wanted to go to college for football, right? I guess you could say that football was my major, because I was like, I don't know, I'm just going to go undecided. I'll do a stupid little major just to get by. But over time, I just, started off small, started taking pictures here and there. And then I really had a change of heart around my spring semester of my freshman year to change and completely go against the grain of what everybody in my life was telling me to do. My grandfather wanted me to do this, so I would make a lot of money when I got out. And truthfully, man, my spirit is not rooted in money or what others want me to do. It's always been rooted in like, I just want to be happy. I just want to do what makes me feel good. So I decided to change my major to digital media production. Not the sexiest thing. It's not a huge money maker, but I believe that I would be happier and that the fruits of that labor would come with that. So ever since then, I've just become obsessed with the process of just telling stories, finding my craft, pretty much self-taught and everything, right? YouTube University, just trial and error with everything. And from there, it's just kind of stuck. Like I've always felt one of those things like, this is for me. Like this was meant for me. I was meant to tell the people stories. So I'm just excited for each level because, you know, I just graduated college recently in May of 2020, where that next level is going to take me, right? In terms of storytelling and how far I can go with it. So super excited for that. And Pierre, what you're talking about is so true, man. Like there is a story that everybody needs to tell, far beyond just making people know who we are. We have a legacy. Like we all want to be remembered for something, right? And you know, when we leave this earth, how will we be remembered? How can we leave our mark? And we've got an amazing opportunity with technology to leave a paper trail of who we were. And I mean, I always tell people this: if your great 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 grandson or granddaughter was going to see how you were when you were alive, because this is going to be the first time in history where that can happen, right? Our hopes is that this will still be here. How would you want them to remember you? How would you want them to see you? And I think if you approach with that mentality rather than the pressure of, I need to put myself out there so that I can do X, Y, Z, think about your legacy for your loved ones and what can you leave behind for them to have tools, right? Because you can leave tools behind and everything that you put out there. So I think that's another beautiful opportunity as well, too, with technology. And it's all about how you look at it. People say technology can be bad. Well, yeah, uses and gratification, man. It's how you use it.
Yeah. And I was in that camp, though. I'm glad you touched on it because I said, you know what, social media, I've got to stay away from it. It's on a need to know basis. Let me do what I have to do.
Yeah.
But when I met you and you helped me understand, and to my listeners, my viewers, you're never too old to keep learning, right? And evolving your thought process. Yeah. You taught me that, your purpose needs to drive your passion. So I love the fact, even from college, right? Just a few years ago, you realize, you know what, my purpose needs to drive my passion. And whatever it is, I can make it good and help people find that good. Now, Trey, I'm sure it wasn't a walk in the park, right? You didn't sit in college or on a football field say, I've got it figured out. Let's talk about, any particular challenges or struggles you had to overcome to help you get to the point you are at today.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I think anytime you're taking a risk on yourself, a chance on yourself, there's always going to be a considerable amount of uncertainty, a considerable amount of doubt, right? And so many obstacles along the way of, is this for me? Am I going to be able to do this? Like, what happens if I fail? I mean, those are thoughts that spiral, right? And especially when you do something like work for yourself, it's all on you, man. It's all on you. And I always had this feeling that I would work for myself in some sort of capacity. I never truly felt that I was meant for a typical 9 to 5. Not saying there's nothing wrong with the 9 to 5. My spirit was just different, right? But when I decided, okay, yes, I want to work for myself. I want to make this happen. There was a push and pull, man. There definitely was. And it comes from, and we talk about this all the time, everybody talks about it. There's not a single person that doesn't feel this at some point, but imposter syndrome, right? And it's been talked about so much. And I think it's great that there's more awareness around it. But I think before imposter syndrome, there's another step before that. And imposter syndrome, to me, I consider as you've gotten to that place, but you're struggling to feel like that place is meant for you. For me, I think that there's something right before that I had to get through first, was before I even got to that place, feeling like that I would be deserving of it at all, right? And that stems from just how you've grown up, how you're raised, not feeling like, or hearing from other people, Trey, you're capable, Trey, this is meant for you, or Trey, you're going to do great things. That wasn't something that I was exposed to my whole life. There's a lot of people that grew up in a household where it was, you're absolutely capable of this. So for me, I lacked confidence in feeling like if I take this step, it's going to be for me, right? And when I graduated college, I think there was a lot of uncertainty because of COVID, right? I had not been able to go through on an internship. I started working part time at Lowe's while working with some clients on the side. But I'm like, when am I gonna get the gears going, right?
Yeah.
And not a short time later, after I met you in November of last year, and some other things, the first thing I did was I needed to go inside. That's what I realized. I needed to go inside and reprogram all of these beliefs, all of these thoughts, find these tools and resources, and just really plan out what I wanted for myself. So that was the first step, acknowledging where I lacked. What is it exactly that I need? The second step was actually doing something about it, right? Not just, okay, yeah, I know, and I'll work on it and I'll just realize it and kind of, meander about my days. It was writing down this false belief I have, and every day waking up, reprogramming it. And here's a few of the ways just tangibly that, the audience listening can implement into their life tomorrow. I did a ton of mirror work, right? Literally looking in the mirror and seeing the younger version of myself and giving him everything he needed. You are this, Trey. You are that, Trey. You deserve this, Trey. A ton of journaling, a ton of affirmations. I am, I have, speaking to what I want, right? Like this is for me, absolutely. And then from there, visualizing it, sitting down literally and visualizing what that life looked like, the five senses, what it smelled like, what it felt like, what it tasted like, what would my health be like, what kind of food would I be eating to take care of my body, right? That was it right there. And then the last critical part, Pierre, as you know, this is something we always talk about, is just being consistent. It's showing up every single day. And we talk about adding value to people around you. You can't add value to people around you if you don't add value to yourself first. So to say you need to pour into your cup, 100%. You ain't pouring into no one else's cup if you don't pour into yours first.
If I had to put a tagline on everything that said, that was powerful, that was deep. Thank you, Trey, and thanks for your vulnerability. It all starts with self-discovery, right? Self-discovery fuels long-term success, right? You could be successful for a time period, right? You could hit a mountaintop, but tomorrow it could be all taken away. But if you don't start inside with self-discovery fuels long-term success. And that was profound, man. Thank you, Trey. And I would say, you challenged me. I pastored, I was a teacher, in healthcare, leadership, and I'm still learning and have to really force myself to do self-discovery. And I want to challenge our listeners and viewers, right? You need to go through a self-discovery process literally regularly. It's not a one and done. It's not let me check the box. But once you go through self-discovery, you keep learning how you are impacted through life's ups and downs. Now, Trey, and tell us a little bit about, the work you do today, right? And how do you use kind of your self-discovery process to impact your clients, impact the people you work with, right? So that you can be successful and that they can be successful.
Absolutely. I love that question, man. And I want to go back really quick to something you talked about to tee this up, is just, you felt like you were the person, oh, I don't need social media, need to know basis, all that. A lot of that feeling for a lot of people comes from, one, insecurity, two, a lack of clarity of their purpose, and three, just not knowing, just being unsure about how to get started. They want to, right? But how do I get there? And I'm sure you can relate to feeling some of those ways, but realizing I need to be on it, right? I'm not getting left behind. So to start, I can't work with anybody that doesn't know themselves. I mean, you and me, how much time have we spent together, right? I need to know you in and out, everything about you. But most importantly, I can't know everything about you if you don't know everything about yourself. Not everything, but you need to do some digging. So you and I, before we ever got to any content talk, can we start posting? I was like, whoa. We've got a step to go before that. And it really was that self-discovery stage, because I'm never going to be able to work with someone if they don't know themselves. It's not going to be a fruitful relationship, because it's more of a partnership than it is me doing it for them. I need you to bring up some things that might hurt, because someone out there needs to hear it. It's going to serve somebody, right? Power of one, we talk about all the time, that one person. So where I always start with my clients is, let's talk about the things that are hard to talk about, the things inside of you that you might not want to speak to, right? Where does this Pierre today, where does that come from? And how can we understand that? Because the more that I understand your story, the better. So writing down Pierre 1.0 versus Pierre 2.0, right? The I am, I have statements and sharing them with me, the vulnerability, the release in that ultimately opens you up to receive and also give back to other people too and give them, because when you're comfortable with yourself, you're comfortable in showing up for others as well too. And honestly, I'm gonna be real here. I think that part that we did together first will continue to bless us in this relationship as you tell your brand, because you're always going to think back to that. And it's like you said, it's checking in every Sunday, every month, every 6 months, every year, because we always need it at a different level of life. A new level of life is going to come in where we're going to still need to do that work.
Yeah, for sure. I had to come to grips. And once I realized everyone has a brand, everyone,
Mm-hmm.
that's your reputation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to be a world-class leader, to be a successful leader, you have to understand your brand and how your brand impacts others. Because people, if you're a leader, if you don't know your brand, guess what? You're gonna be so disconnected from the people that you're leading, and they'll be able to call you out on it, right? You hear
Yeah.
words like being authentic, right? You hear words like integrity when you think about great leaders. And if you don't know your brand, I mean, you can't be an authentic leader. You can't move from a
Mm-hmm.
place of integrity. Then you come across as fake. And in our
Yep.
society today, one thing society will let you know, if you're being fake, people will call you out. And as
True.
a leader, that's one thing I realized. I don't want to be a fake leader. I want to be real. I want to be able to say, you know what? I don't know what I don't know. All right. That's not
Yeah.
my wheelhouse. Let me surround myself with the right kind of people. And that self-discovery phase and process so what works very, very well. So thank you, Trey. Now,
Yeah.
Trey, I mean, you're a young man. I mean, you have a lot more to learn, I'm sure, but you've been impacting me, so tell our listeners, our audience, kind of, where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah.
I mean, you're an entrepreneur working for
Yeah.
yourself. You have, an amazing client line, but what does the future look like?
Yeah. Absolutely. Vision is so important. You know what I mean? Like if you're just being autonomous throughout the day and about everything that you do, then it's like, what am I doing these things for? Right. And uh, something that I've come to realize over the last few months is, am I doing the things that I'm doing? Are they coming from the right place? Right. So am I doing these things that are going to ultimately serve myself the best and serve people around me the best too? Right. But one big thing that keeps coming up for me is freedom, right? Finding freedom in the things that I'm doing and not being caged and sheltered in what I'm doing, not creating a jail cell for myself. Because the whole reason why I wanted to work for myself was I didn't want to be building someone else's dream, right? But what I do love is that I'm able to help other people build their dream on my terms, right? Like Pierre, we've come such a far way together, and through seeing your vision come to life for your brand, it's helped mine come to life. And for me, I think if I could just say that, if as long as I'm doing this, I will be happy. As long as I'm a conduit for people to share their stories, to amplify their messages, to be the power of one, right? The power of one person. That's where I find my fulfillment. I am a people person. I think, like what you said, if you're not authentic, it's going to show. And today we're in the human era. Like brands are focusing on the human, the one person. It's not just about sales anymore. So where I see myself in the next 3 to 5 years, man, is still doing this, still telling stories, still helping other people tell their stories and get the messages across that need to be heard. Um, Whatever it looks like, I'm like you said, I'm young, I'm experimenting, I'm open to whatever it looks like. But as long as I'm doing this in this space, I'm happy.
Excellent. Excellent. That's awesome. So just to be explicitly clear for my tribe listening, you know, everything you see on online social media, you probably notice, I went from 0 to 100 literally in terms of sharing, being vulnerable. That all started with my time with Trey. That
Yeah.
self-discovery, pushing me outside of my comfort zone. And we all have a story to tell. So if you've been on the fence, if you've been thinking about, hey, how can I really dig deep? How can I share with others? How can I impact others? How can I raise my leadership to the next level? whether you're employed gainfully or whether you're in a job transition, you need to talk to a brand strategist, a content creator, someone like Trey. And I guarantee you, it will be time well spent and a process well spent. So Trey, in our closing moments, encourage the people listening. I'm sure there are individuals who are just like me, where I was a year ago, that need to be encouraged. Yeah. What would you tell that person who has thought about, working in their brand, thought about sharing, but they're still struggling with imposter syndrome? They're still struggling with, hey, I don't think I have a powerful enough story. What would you tell them today?
Yeah, I tell them that they're absolutely capable, because I was there myself. And then to be able to help other people, I had to be good with where I was at to be able to help you, right? To be able to help other people. But I would challenge the audience to do this first. I think, when I start with a client, I do a social media audit, right? Okay, what's the current state of your brand look like? But first, you need to look at that check engine light and do an audit on yourself, right? What's going on inside of here? So I want to challenge the audience to do an audit on themselves and just look at where their energy source is coming from. Something really big that I always come back to is my energy source clean or dirty, right? Like, are you burning coal, or are you using renewable source from the sun, right? And what that looks like is a dirty fuel source is the haters, using them to power you, maybe a loved one that doubted you your whole life, or someone that didn't show up for you that you really needed to show up for you. That's a place that I operated from for a long time, right? Until I had this perspective switch of, I need to operate from a source that is clean, that's renewable, that's going to keep me going, that makes me excited to wake up in the morning. And that's this piece right here, telling your story, using my gifts to share with other people to tell their gifts, right? So I really want to challenge the audience, before you ever think about, what story am I going to tell? What content do I want to put out? How do I want my brand to look? Is your energy source clean? Start there, because you cannot empower other people or make other people excited about what you're doing or want them to change, is if it's not coming from a genuine place, right? And people are going to see through it.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So Trey, we could go on and on, but we gotta wrap up.
Absolutely
What's the best way for people, if they want to get a hold of you, get in contact with you? How can they find you? And we'll attach more details in the show notes, but tell people how they can find you.
Yeah, man. Trey Douyon on any platform. So LinkedIn, you can find me at Trey Douyon, Instagram, Trey Douyon, Twitter, my website, all Trey Douyon. So you can find me there. Shoot me a email, shoot me a message. I would love to chat about your brand, talk to you, and help you find some sort of clarity.
Excellent. And we'll have the details below the show notes. But Trey, thanks for your time. And for everyone, this is another episode of the World Class Leadership Podcast. Please share this episode with a friend. Give us your comments. We want to know how it's impacted you. Any feedback will be definitely greatly appreciated and welcome. Have a great time. And remember, you too are a world-class leader, where you can use your past failures to fuel you to success each and every day. Thank you so much. Trey, we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you.